Hello, and welcome to another episode of Yoga for Classroom's Favorite Things. This one is for all my school counselors out there. I know we have lots of school counselors that are Yoga for Classrooms implementers. So this one is for you. This is all things school counseling resources, all things school counseling resource books, actually. So maybe we'll do another one with actual resources, but these are all school counseling professional development books that we just can't live without. And we think that you need to add to your collection too. All right, now get ready because I had planned on only picking 3 or 4. And let's see, I ended up picking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Think eight of them because I just couldn't decide. I have so many favorites, so many I can't live without. So let's dive in. Lots of these are the ASCA publication books. So the American School Counselor Association has tons of great books out there. If you're not familiar, go to www.schoolcounselor.org and go to their bookstore. And there are tons of books. I picked just 6 of theirs that I love, but there are many more out there. So be sure and check them out. All right. The first one is the one you just can't live without, the ASCA National Model. So this is the 4th edition, which is the one we're currently on, although there will be a new one in not too long. So this is from 2019, but it's still relevant, still it's the gold standard in school counseling. So definitely have to have this on your bookshelf if you're a school counselor. It's the ASCA National Model. Enough said, right? The books that go with the ASCA National Model are really important too, though. Sometimes they don't get as much attention, but they're really powerful. And the first one I want to mention is the implementation guide that goes with the student standards. So this is a newer book, and it is amazing because those student standards that are a part of our profession that really help define our profession, define what students should learn as a result of our school counseling program. But the student standards can be kind of hard to understand. And ASCA realized that, so they published the ASCA National Model Implementation Guide that just addresses how we can really make sure our students learn all of those student standards. So this gives you great ideas about how to write learning objectives for each of these, how to strategies that teachers might use in the classroom to address the student standards, just so many great ideas. So don't sleep on this one. I feel like it hasn't gotten as much attention as it deserves, but it is phenomenal. All right. So ASCA Student Standards Implementation Guide. There's another implementation guide that goes with Manage and Assess. So this one kind of goes more with Define, and this one goes more with our Manage and Assess components of the ASCA National Model. So this helps us do some of that behind the scenes work that we do in Manage, where we're building up our program, we're building that foundation of our program. And then it also helps us to understand how to implement the assess portion, which is so hard for some of us. That's where we're really looking at what works, what doesn't. And that's a really important step of a comprehensive school counseling program. So another one you really need to have, because it just really helps us understand how to not only manage and assess our program, but really gives examples of what that could look like and how much that's really needed in a comprehensive school counseling program. So those are kind of the 3 that I recommend that go with the ASCA National Model. Really, really powerful books. Truly, every school counselor should have these on their shelves. You should be able to get your school or district to purchase those books because these are kind of like our curriculum or our teacher manual. Like our teachers get, this is our manual. So make sure you're advocating for those in your school counseling office. A couple more that aren't as much directly tied to the national model, but that I highly recommend. First up, making data work. So we talked about how data and assessing our program can be difficult. Making Data Work is a fantastic book. This one really is a step-by-step guide to understanding data. It's just pretty easy to read. I've heard so many school counselors say I didn't think I'd ever understand data until I got this book. So highly recommend it. Similarly is the Making MTSS workbook. So this book, if you're at a district that's implementing multi-tiered system of support or any type of PBIS, RTI, any of those tiered type programs, I highly recommend this because this really defines the school counselor's role in MTSS, which can be a little bit tricky sometimes. So highly recommend this one as well. So making data work, making MTSS work, also great. And then last of my ASCA book recommendations is the Culturally Sustaining School Counseling book. This really helps us to understand how to implement diverse and equitable and inclusive school counseling programs. What I love about this one is it asks you questions along the way. It's almost like a workbook. So you can go through it, filling it out as you go, and it's really reflective. It will really help you identify your strengths and your areas for growth when it comes to creating a culturally sustaining program. So you can see I've written all in mine, I've highlighted because it's really meant to be done that way. It's a great book. I recommend that you work on this with your team. If you have more than one school counselor or even your administrator, it would be very applicable to your administrator as well as you work to build a more culturally sustaining school. All right, so those are my ASCA recommendations. I told you there were quite a few of them, a whole stack, but I love them. Can't live without them. I'll include them all listed below so you can make sure and get those, add them to your library. Like I said, all of them can be bought on ASCA's website, and I strongly recommend that you advocate for your school or district buying those for you because they are really necessary for you to do your job. A few more books that I love that aren't ASCA books but are really powerful. First up, School Counseling to Close Opportunity Gaps. This is by Cheryl Holcomb McCoy, who is just, gosh, she's just amazing. She's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to school counseling and when it comes to closing opportunity gaps. This is a book that really helps to lay the framework down to make sure you're building a socially just and equitable and anti-racist school counseling program. But this one, it kind of goes along with what we talked about in culturally sustaining, but in this one, it really talks about those gaps that we see within our schools with specific student groups and how to address those gaps and to make sure we are working tirelessly to close those gaps. So really, really highly recommend this one as well. And last but not least is The Use of Data in School Counseling. This one's by Trish Hatch and Julie Hartline. It's from our friends at Hatching Results, and it is a great book to help dig deeper into data. It's not a skinny one. It's a lot. It's a big old book. Look, I feel like it takes up my whole face, but it is really helpful. Again, gives a lot of good examples. Isn't nearly as dense as it looks by its size and page numbers, but it's really, really helpful. Another one that I just have highlighted and marked because it just has so many great ideas. So school counselors, I hope that is helpful. There are so many great resources out there, but those are some of my favorites. Again, they'll be listed below so that you can check them all out. And I hope you'll join us again for our next episode of our favorite things at Yoga for Classrooms. Thanks so much and have a great day. Bye.